Hey everybody, we're here in the cave yet again. I'm George Weber, G. Weber Arts, and today we're going to be talking about tools, in particular DeWalt tools, and a couple of times they have let me down. Uh, so we're going to get into that in just a second. I'm going to probably have to be zooming in and out on the camera and such in order to get close-ups of some of the things that I'm going to be talking about. So kind of bear with me on the camera business, and we'll get with that right now. All right, so the first time that DeWalt kind of let me down, and this is pretty much a minor thing, is with this ratcheting screwdriver. And I kind of like the screwdriver in itself and its ratcheting action, and the fact that this is an extension, so you can use it as just a handle with a little piece in it. And this is magnetic, so it holds screws and does all that kind of stuff. And that part of it is really good, and the reversing action is good. What I don't like about it, and I consider this a pretty foul mistake on DeWalt's part, is the way these bits. First of all, this is very hard to open. And then you have this container. See, I'm still having trouble getting it all the way out. That's full of bits that they just fall out. No matter how hard you try to get them back in here, they're hard to put in because the other bits get in the way. So, if you're not putting the bit in the right place, you're just not going to get anywhere. Half the time when you're trying to put in one bit, another one falls out. Then the thing tries to close when you try to push the bit in. It's just, I don't know, it's just, you can see how much I'm fussing with it, trying to get this bit to go in there, that one to go in there. I've already lost at least one bit because of this craziness. So it's just, I don't know, and the way the bits are held in the handle, it's just not a good design. And okay, as DeWalt tools go, that's a minor thing. It's not a major failure. It's just a nuisance failure. But now we're going to get into the other failure that DeWalt did for me that almost caused me bodily injury. All right, so this is my DeWalt miter saw. It's a nice sliding miter saw, and I like the saw a lot. The saw has done everything I've ever tried to do with it, and that aspect of it is pretty good. In fact, for the price, it's really good. As you can see on the sides here, it has these big aluminum handles where you're supposed to pick it up and move it around and so forth and so on. And that makes perfect sense. This saw has spent its entire life since I bought it until just recently bolted to a table that had wheels on it. So it was always moved around by wheels. About a week or so ago, I unbolted it and I was going to move it. And I took a hold of the grab handle here. And keep in mind, this machine, again, is maybe 2.5 years old. It's always been bolted to a table. And when I went to pick it up, this handle broke. Now, fortunately, the saw was still right above the table, so I could just put it down quick. If I was a contractor, or if I had been moving this thing frequently, and moving it and grabbing it by this grab handle, if this other side had broken immediately afterwards from the weight of the saw, this saw would have landed on my foot easily. It could have hurt me badly, and that's one thing that really upset me about this DeWalt saw, is the fact that it has literally been bolted to a table for 2 to 2.5 years, never lifted by this handle, and the one time I go to pick it up by this handle breaks. That's a pretty serious infraction as far as I'm concerned from DeWalt. Then the next thing that rather bothered me some is, and I'll show you that in just a second. All right, so I've removed the dust bag so you can get a better view of the handle and see it better. And as I mentioned, I went to pick it up, and they call this a grab handle, so I'm assuming that you should be able to pick up the machine using this handle in certain instances. Again, broke. Clean off. You can even see how thin the plastic is. It's just really bad. The next thing that upset me is I went onto the DeWalt website and I ordered a new handle. Okay, so they sent me a new handle. The handle itself cost like $6 and some odd cents. Then they charge you $10 to ship it in this great big box. Why on earth would you do that? Why not a smaller box? It's not like it's going to break in shipping. It's not like it's going to get lost in shipping in a slightly smaller box. Heck, you could even put this in one of those rip-proof envelopes, and the shipping should cost less than $10. So I was a little bit upset by that it's $10 to ship a tiny plastic handle that weighs nothing at all. So now I need to find a proper bit to pull these screws off and put on my new handle. So we're going to take a look at how that goes, because I haven't done it yet. All right, so let's see if we can accomplish installing the new handle without too much trouble. The first thing is the screws here are combination screws, which means you can put either a straight bit in it or one of those star type bits into it, a Torx bit, if you will. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use my DeWalt screwdriver that I was just complaining about. Fortunately, I have a box of bits, so I know that I have one that fits. And we're going to see. All right, not too hard to get it out so far. That's good. Turn on the ratcheting action. That's the other thing I do like about this screwdriver, is you can have ratcheting action or you can turn off the ratcheting action, which I think is a nice little feature. So again, the screwdriver itself isn't the problem. It's the design of the way the bits are held. Now you can see this has been greased in order to keep the screw, I suppose, from getting rusted in there or something to that effect. Although I don't know why they would grease the plastic to do that, but they have. All right, DeWalt, explain to me why you use a different size torque bit on this side than you did on this side. Because that's what it looks like you've done to me. So now I have to take out another bit and make sure that I'm right about that. It could be just that I'm working in the dark. Nope, they've used two different size torque bits. Explain it to me. Try to, I dare you. All right, so that one goes on this side. This one goes on this side. This one, of course, is a very coarse thread because it's threading into plastic. This side is a finer thread because it's screwing into metal. There's our new handle. Anytime you put steel into aluminum, there's a reaction that can happen that can cause a particular type of corrosion. So, knowing that, I'm going to put a little bit of grease on the threads of this screw so that I don't run into that problem. And we're going to place it right like that. And we're trying to get that screw in place. That's difficult just because there's not a lot of room to work. Then I'm going to take my screwdriver and reverse the ratcheting. Get this plastic end started because that one will probably be easier to line up because it falls into something that lines up the handle and its insertion point. So, all right, we got that started. And we'll take the other bit and put it on this end. And there goes the screw, flying away. All right, not a problem. That's my fault. I didn't have the holes lined up properly, so it's just hard to manipulate it in such a tight, confined space. All right, there we go. So we'll get that one screwed down. This is plastic, so I'm not going to over tighten it. I'm just hand tight. That's enough. Change bits again and tighten down the side that screws into the plastic. Again, hand tight, that's sufficient. And now we can pick up the machine, not a problem. Now I'll say that there is a possibility that the handle may have been defective in production, but I'm not going to bet on that. I'm going to bet on the fact that this plastic at the metal end is just not very thick to start with, and then the area where it contacts here is just so minimal. There's just not a lot there, and it just literally broke out in a perfect ring. So I don't know what to tell you. Knowing what I know now, having had it break, could have fallen on my foot, as I mentioned before, spending $16 and change to get a new plastic handle, I think what I would have done is gone to the hardware store, bought a piece of steel scrap, and made myself a steel handle and never have to worry about it breaking again. Maybe put some leather around it or something so I could grab that handle and lift it and move it around without hurting myself. And that whole process probably would have cost me $8 at the most. So that's the end of this video. I hope it was useful for somebody out there. I hope you like it. By all means, make some comments because I'm sure you probably have some on this video. Um, Subscribe to our channel because we're going to be doing more stuff about tools and more stuff about our trains and other fun things like that. So see you on the next video. By the way, just for a quick PS on this, before anyone makes a comment that that's not a carry handle, here on the order sheet for the part, it clearly states carry handle top. So that's a carry handle. Not a very well made one, but a carry handle nonetheless.